So what's going on, guys? DIY Dan here again. My family and I took a recent trip to Knottsberry Farm, California. This is a full video of the Ghostrider, which is the longest, largest, and fastest wooden roller coaster along the West Coast in the United States. We took this trip in May of 2023. Ghostrider is one of the top 4 roller coasters at Knottsberry Farm. The other 3 include the Accelerator, which is broke down, still waiting for a part right now. Hang Time, which is an absolute trip, and the Silver Bullet, which is one of my other favorite rides at Knottsberry Farm. I highly recommend requesting a front row, even if you have to wait a little longer, especially if you don't have the Fast Pass for any of these rides, because you will have a much better experience riding front row than anywhere else on any of these 4 coasters. And while you're watching this, I figured I'd give you some helpful tips if you're planning a trip to Knottsberry Farm. So one question that we had is whether you can bring food and drink into the park. According to their website, the only thing you can bring in is unopened water bottles. No outside food or drink beyond that is allowed. However, they tend to be pretty lenient on that. We brought a mid-sized backpack that was full of waters and different snacks for us to eat throughout the day, and they didn't have any problem with that. They ran us through a metal detector and didn't even bother looking in the backpack. So could you sneak maybe some sandwiches and other food as well? Quite possibly. Whether you're actually going to get caught and they might actually say something might be a different story, but we did not have that issue. And we have done this about 3 or 4 times going to Knottsberry Farm. Something we've done at other theme parks and would probably work here too, because I did see locker rentals at Knottsberry Farm, is we brought a big backpack full of food and drinks, enough for lunches included, and then rent a locker for the day because it wasn't that expensive. Then carry around a small backpack that we could refill every once in a while from the big backpack in the locker, which was a huge money saver for food and drink throughout the day. Another great money saver is buying the souvenir cup that you can get free refills throughout the day. When we were at the park, these cups were $17 a piece, and every 15 minutes you could go get a refill of whatever you wanted throughout the day. The only downside to this is some of the restaurants and stuff, you did have to wait in the full line in order to get a refill on a drink. You could not bypass that line just to refill your cup. Now, we were usually able to find a little stand that would refill those cups, so we didn't really have to wait in a line. So that is something to look for instead of waiting in line at the restaurants. Another thing that was highly recommended to us was going to the Mrs. Knott's Chicken Dinner restaurant. If you are going to try this restaurant, I highly recommend going to the restaurant itself. Do not go to the to-go takeout that they have outside the restaurant, because the food there was not nearly as good as the restaurant itself.
So I actually decided to try the chicken and waffle meal because I've never had that before.
I was actually pretty disappointed in that meal because it was like processed chicken instead of real fried chicken on the waffles. However, some friends of ours had a pork sandwich that was actually really tasty. One thing I will say about that restaurant is they had amazing biscuits and jam before the actual meal. That was almost worth the entire experience.
So when we previously went to Knottsberry Farm, we didn't get the Fast Pass. However, we went in off seasons like October, so the waits for the rides weren't that bad.
This time in May, during summer, we actually waited 45 minutes for the first ride of the day, and after that we decided to go get a Fast Pass, and that was well worth the extra $100 a ticket. I know that sounds expensive, but if you come this far and spend this much money to begin with, you might as well make full use of your day, instead of spending 3/4 of your day standing in line looking at the rides instead of being on them. I would say our average wait time for a ride with the Fast Pass was less than 10 minutes per ride.
So the first ride was Hang Time, so that's all the way at the back of the park. We didn't feel like running all the way up to the front of the park to try and get a Fast Pass. Some of the stores do carry them, so it's worth checking out if you run into the same situation as we did.
So if you've waited around this long in this video, I'm going to give you the best advice I could possibly give you if you're going to any theme park, not just Knottsberry Farm. When we were at Six Flags Magic Mountain in California, we actually had our backpack stolen from one of the bins that you have to put your backpack in during the ride. We got off the ride and went to get our backpack and it wasn't there. I went running out the exit to try and see somebody that might have it. Couldn't find anybody. Six Flags security was very unhelpful. The keys to our vehicle, my wife's little clutch purse, along with some cell phones, were all stolen and we did not get them back. So because of this, whenever I go to a theme park, I wear cargo pants, and the keys to the vehicle we came in, along with anything of value, always stays on me in my cargo shorts or pants that I'm wearing. We do take a backpack, but don't leave anything of value in it during the rides. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and it gave you some good information. If so, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. The whole concept of my channel is to give you guys the most information in the least amount of time as possible so I don't waste your time. And I hope to see you next time. Later.